All right, Ron Wolf is a little upset. His son Elliot was, they said by mutual agreement. I don't know how mutual that was, but he's no longer with the Browns.
Yeah, mutual agreement.
Well, don't you just assume if you keep him in, no matter how honorable everybody is, you know there's going to be leak going out back to Dorsey, back to Ron Wolf, who then can get it to somebody?
Yeah, it was just one of those situations where, do you want to force it? Do you want to make it, force it to work, or do you want to just, try to avoid that? The Browns have been down that road before.
All right, Ron Wolf on the use of analytics by the Cleveland Browns. When something goes wrong, who takes the responsibility? Their answer, well, that's what the data told us. What a crock. That's what got them 1-31. Strong language.
Very strong from a guy who is very close to John Dorsey.
Yeah.
Has spent a lot of time in Berea over the last few years. Obviously not happy to see his son sent packing. I mean, the reality is, if this fails, it's going to go back on Paul-Depodesta. I mean, this is everything that has been built here now is basically on Paul-Depodesta.
What do we know about Paul's contract situation? The head coach and the GM get 5-year deals. Is DePodesta covered that long?
I don't know if they're going to give him a 5-year deal. I know his contract was coming up, so
right.
I think they're going to renegotiate a new one.
You have to
shortly.
renew him. You can't let him go now.
Yeah, I would almost think you'd want to give him some kind of deal that aligned him with the guys that you just put in place.
Oh, there's that word, align and alignment.
There you go.
There you go. All right, under Sashi-Brown, a couple of moves that were made in 2016. Let's take a look. Drafted Corey-Coleman with the 15th overall pick, joe-schobert with the 99th pick. Then he went on and signed Robert-Griffin III to a 2-year, $15 million deal and did not sign or re-sign Mitchell-Schwartz or Alex-Mack. That looks like a bad mistake.
Yeah, especially the Mitchell-Schwartz, and they kind of had to chase their tail on Alex-Mack and give a bunch of money to jc-tretter, who, look, that was a good signing and he just got a contract extension, but you've got to be able to re-sign your own guys.
All right, now we get to 2017. He drafted Myles-Garrett with the 1st overall pick, David-Njoku with the 29th overall pick, and deshone-kizer with number 52. Traded with Houston to acquire Brock-Osweiler. I almost forgot that happened.
Yeah,
I couldn't put a year on that.
The pick that actually became Nick Chubb
I should remember that. Signed jc-tretter and Kevin-Zeitler, and then released Joe-Haden.
Joe-Haden, who just made the Pro Bowl.
Does the Pro Bowl mean anything anymore?
I don't know, honestly.
Most guys get there because other guys got injured.
You've got player votes, guys get in to get injured.
The teams that are in the playoffs, they're not sending anybody there.
Yeah, you look at that Sashi-Brown era, and it was so much about acquiring assets.
Right.
Trading down, acquiring picks, clearing cap space, making sure there was a bunch of money to spend. But at the same time, there were notable misses, like not re-signing Mitchell-Schwartz, drafting Corey-Coleman as your number 1 overall pick, passing on very talented players in spots.
What would the analytics report look like? For example, it says, let's use Schwartz as an example. Schwartz, right tackle. By that time, I think he had 4 years in the league. One of the top right tackles in all of football. What's the negative? What comes down on the analytics train that says don't even bother signing him? I think in that case they were ticked off at him because he sought another offer, wanted to see it, and then compared the two, and they didn't like it. Yeah, Am I wrong or right on that?
I don't think that was an analytics type move. I think they just messed it up. Like you said, they either came to a standstill in the negotiations and were mad about something, or they just couldn't get a deal done. And I think from an analytics standpoint, if you're looking at data and what will help you in team building, re-signing young successful players who are just entering the prime of their career is going to be important. So I just think that was a mistake.
Not only that, Schwartz had an insignificant injury, but one that kept him out of a couple plays for Kansas City this year. I think it was game 11 or 12. And up until that point, he was number 2 behind Joe Thomas for the most consecutive snaps in history of the NFL.
He was going after that snap streak almost.
Yeah, he got hurt and missed a couple of plays, but he was right back. And he was quoted as saying, I'm not going to try that again and go after that record anymore.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything, whether you're just using your eyeballs or you're using data that's telling you a guy like Mitchell-Schwartz isn't valuable and you shouldn't pay him because of what you said. Reliability, he's young, he's talented. That's the type of player that you want to keep. And the Browns have a bunch of decisions like that coming up.
Does the analytics approach allow for the eyeball test?
I think it will. Yeah, I think Andrew Berry is a guy with a background in scouting, and I think he understands the value of scouting and the value of sitting in that room and watching tape. I think what your goal is when you're going to more of an analytics direction is to just have more data available and have people who are more willing to use that data, but not just make choices based on that alone. You've got to watch guys and know, is this guy good or is this guy not?
Let me go back to Stefanski. Do you think there was a point where when they were having trouble negotiating with the GM and other coaches and all, and some were walking away, do you think he said, what did I get myself into here? Or did he think he could have delivered everybody?
You know, I think part of me with Andrew Berry is it felt like he was one of the guys that was going to get that job way back when the whole change happened.
So there was a scam of an interview process?
I don't think it was a scam of an interview process. I think George Paton was a legitimate candidate. But I also think Andrew Berry was one of the front runners for that job to begin with. So I think the fact that they landed on him is a good thing. They didn't have to settle for him necessarily. He's a guy that the Haslams like, a guy Paul-depodesta likes. And by all accounts, you know, he was around when Stefanski interviewed last year, and they seemed to really hit it off. So I think, here's that word, that alignment. I think they found that at least when they went to
Car's tires need an alignment.
Right.
2-1